Hey, Craig, it's Sam Hartman. Again, thank you for having me to your property to check it out and introducing me to your dog, Skeeter. Had a great time with him. Really enjoyed our time looking at the property, seeing what your plans were for it. And I've been looking into comparables and pricing and wanted to get you an idea of what I was looking at. I didn't want to just send you an email without any explanation or context to any of the numbers or the comparables. So I wanted to shoot this quick video, make it quick and easy for you to kind of hear my thoughts of what I was looking at and kind of what we're thinking on price and value here. So I did a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to put together just kind of a SWOT analysis of my thoughts on your home, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, things I thought that are really good, and then maybe challenges that we might have. So I'll share that with you first. So let's start with the great stuff you got going on, your strengths. I mean, it's going to be cosmetically renovated. You were doing some great work in there. Really going to be turnkey for the next buyer that comes into the property. Seemed like all the major cost items, the windows were newer vinyl windows. The roof was not new, but new enough and in good repair. Loved the large lot. The 4 bedrooms is a big bonus. Having a true master bedroom is a big bonus, and the fenced yard, I think, is a good selling feature as well. Weaknesses that we kind of talked about in the property, it lacks the updated HVAC. It's got the electric ceiling heat, no central air. We'll kind of talk about that with my pricing analysis as well. The access to the garage is through that master bedroom, so that's kind of a feature that'll be kind of unique. You know, a buyer could use that as another living room or a true master bedroom, but accessing the garage through there could be a negative to those buyers. The shower in the master bath was super nice. You renovated that really well, but there is a low ceiling, so a taller guy like myself might feel a little uncomfortable in that shower. And then the wood exterior, that's just kind of going to be a maintenance thing. It looked in good shape from when we walked the property, but you know, it's always a little bit more maintenance for the next buyer. So our opportunities, it's an amazing time to sell as a seller. A balanced real estate market, we consider to have 6 months supply of homes, and we're currently running at 0.8 months of inventory. So it's an extremely good seller's market. Interest rates are ticking up, but they're still extremely low. So there's strong buyer demand, strong affordability for those buyers too. And currently, from what I was looking at in our comparables, there is no similar ranch properties listed in the 46835 zip code. So there's literally no competition for a property like yours right now. Everything is either under contract or already closed. So that's a huge opportunity for us as we're looking at hopefully listing here in the next coming weeks. Threats, things kind of out of our control that could be negatives. You know, it's an older home, so you know you're doing a lot of work, but that inspection, as you've learned from your previous experience with your other property up in Michigan, could be a threat, could be a problem for us. In this price point, this type of a house, I think there's a lot of FHA buyers out there. From all of the comparables that I looked at, though, it's actually about 1/3 of the closings were with FHA financing. So that's actually a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it might be even more than half of the closings were to FHA buyers for similar properties. So I think that is good that it's only 1/3. The other were either cash or conventional loans. So that's a good thing for us, I'd say. I did notice when I was in the house, there were some uneven floors. You know, it's a crawl space foundation. It's an older house. You're going to get some of that settling and things like that. So not necessarily a huge defect to the property, but I think it's something that buyers will notice. And then, you know, just with it being winter and the holidays, we could expect a little less buyer demand than is typical, but I don't think that's going to keep us from selling it because of those other things I said in the opportunities. No competition, low interest rates, an extremely heavy seller's market with that inventory too. So next I want to go into some of the comparables and the comps and the data and everything that goes into kind of my thoughts on where we're at pricing wise. And I kind of ran 2 different comparable reports. One I ran as really similar type ranch homes in both 46815 and 46835. Your property is kind of right on that zip code line. So, and I feel like they're both pretty similar zip codes in terms of the part of town, the types of houses, the school districts, and everything like that. So I kind of lumped them together. So I used ranch homes, no basement, 4 bedrooms, at least 2 bathrooms, to kind of run this comparable report. And so these are really similar type ranch style homes, but all of these homes have the central air, have different, heating sources and stuff like that. Then I ran another report that was more broad on the style of home, 2-story, 1-story, some have basements, some don't. But they're explicitly similar type of heating source to yours and no central air. So this will give me kind of a good range of like, how much does that affect the pricing here between the two? So let's start. I'll go first to the comparable ranch style homes. These are the homes that are really similar in size, beds, baths, but don't have, or they do have the central air and everything. All right, so here are all these ranches. In total, it was 18 comparables. Out of these ones, it was 5 of them actually sold to FHA buyers. The rest were cash and conventional, so I think that's pretty good for us. But you can kind of scroll through the comparables here, see what they sold for, see what their beds, baths, square footage, everything like that was. If you want to look at photos, you can click on a link, click on the photo here, and you can see more photos. So that's kind of how you can see that here. But without going through all the photos and every single one here, I just want to jump ahead to kind of the average pricing of these 18 comparables. And so this lists every single one of the comparables. It has their sold price, the average price for the square footage, and how many days on market it was. Some of them don't have all that information because they haven't closed yet. So this gives you a little bit of an idea here. And so the average sale price of all these properties was $177, and the average price per square foot was $107 there. Average days on market, 7 days. So with that information, I'm going to go to the next screen here. And I really love this graph because it helps us visualize pricing a little bit better. It graphs every single comparable that we're looking at here, all 18 of them. And it gives us we talked about in your property, a fair market price. And so you see that price line through there is a fair market price line. And the purple dot is your property. So this gives you an idea based off your square footage, based off these 18 comparables, where these 18 comparables would show a fair market value for the property itself. So you can see it's right around that 180 price point, but keep in mind, these are the properties that have the central air. So we've got to take that into account. So your property doesn't have the central air. So the next kind of report that I ran will help us narrow down where we think it affects pricing wise compared to these. So if your home were to have the central air, I think 180 is kind of that baseline price point, that fair market price point. Now you can kind of see there's a gray section there, and it's a pretty wide section. This is kind of a range then north and south of fair market value that it can kind of fit in. So this is kind of a large range based off these comparables. So it could, I think with, if your home had the central air with all the updates that you're doing, I think it could probably rise even higher, be more of a fair market price point, even a bit higher than that 180 as well. All right, so now I'm going to pull up the comparable properties that don't have central air. They have the electric ceiling heat. So these are comparable in that way. All right, again, so now really similar search I did in 46835 and 15 zip codes. I did not restrict it to only ranches because I wanted to catch as many properties that don't have central air. They have the electric ceiling heat to compare them that way. So again, you can kind of scroll through all 17 of these properties. Out of these properties, I believe it was 6 of them, sold FHA. So again, we're right about that 1/3 of the properties that sold to FHA buyers. So I'm going to skip ahead to the average pricing. So again, now you can see the average price with the similar ranch homes with the central air was 177. Now we've dropped down to 156,900. So a decent difference there. But the average price per square foot is only $6 less at 101. So not a huge gap. That gives us about a $10,000 difference of your property between comparables that don't have the central air and comparables that do have the central air. So I'm going to use kind of $10,000 as that barometer of a price difference when we're kind of comparing these. So we'll go to this pricing line again, which I love the pricing line because it shows it all the comparables on this nice graph. You know, the higher the square footage goes, the higher the price goes, tends to be kind of the common practice. You know, you get some outliers here. This is a pretty nicely updated home as well. But you can kind of see our subject property then, it's got us right around kind of a 165-ish price point. So I think with the updates that you've done, I think we can probably push a bit higher. You know, this graph here, it has a little bit tighter of a range of the gray area. So, you know, it looks like about up to 180, maybe upper 170, 178, 179 might kind of be the top of that range. So ultimately, what I was thinking here is that our price range is probably going to be in that 170 to 180 range. And so in speaking with you, you know, I know you said you'd rather maybe price a little more modestly to get the buyer desire in and get that traffic right away. So I think that is kind of my recommendation in terms of a pricing range based off of this info and data. I think once you get your finishing touches on it, once we get it staged and get some really great professional photos and some video marketing and everything put into it, it's going to show really well. So I think that's a pretty fair analysis there. So I wanted to get this information in your hands so that you can make an informed and great decision on the realtor that you want to work with, but also in terms of the pricing that you decide to go with as well. So I really appreciate the opportunity to present with you, to see your house, to meet your dog. And I really hope that you decide to work with me. And I think we'll do great things together, getting this property listed, marketed, and sold in a time frame that you're looking to do. So thank you again, Craig. Any questions, don't hesitate to email me, text me, call me, reach back out to me. Would love to get the ball moving forward with you with next steps. All right. Thanks a lot, Craig. Have a great holiday. We'll talk soon.